So today we will be exploring the top 10 quarterbacks in my opinion in the 2025 season so far. I know that we've only played through week 2 and it's kind of like an assumption to be making a top 10 list already. But I've just seen so many lists on ESPN, on CBS, as well as on TikTok, and honestly, they're just so atrocious. I've seen some lists put Jalen Hurts like in the top 5. Like it's just not good lists whatsoever. So I thought I'd put my own spin on it. Of course, this is my own opinion, so if you don't like it, feel free to just comment down below that you don't like it so you can drive up my algorithm. But yeah, before we get started, make sure you guys hit like and sub. We're an up-and-coming NFL YouTube channel, and if you guys want to support us, please hit sub and please comment down below as well as like on all my videos. And I'm gonna see you guys in the video. So before we get started, I do want to start out with some honorable mentions. I'm not going to go too much into depth into these honorable mentions. I don't want to spend too much time on them. I want to get straight to the top 10. And just know that if these guys are in the honorable mentions, I do think that they can potentially become a top 10 quarterback depending on how the season goes. And honestly, you can really interchange my bottom 5 with the honorable mentions. Like it could really go either way. I have no clue how the season's going to end up going. But to start out my my honorable mentions in no particular order, I have CJ Stroud on here. I have Aaron Rodgers. I have Jaden Daniels and Kyler Murray, as well as Cam Ward, just because of that awesome touchdown pass that he threw. And I think that Cam Ward is going to be a generational talent. That's pretty much the only reason why I put him on here. I know he's made a lot of mistakes, but honestly, he is a rookie, and I just see so much potential in him. As for CJ Stroud and Jaden Daniels, I know that's going to be a pretty controversial topic, but honestly, Jaden Daniels hasn't really shown me too much to be in the top 10 conversation this season. I do believe that he had a pretty incredible season last season. I know that he had a pretty generational season last season, but I just want to see more from him to put him back into that top 10 conversation. CJ Stroud, kind of along with what I just said about him, he had a pretty incredible rookie season. I know that his sophomore season he did see a slump, but honestly, I don't see him being in a top 10 conversation until the Texans, until they fix that O-line issue that they got, because he just does not have that much time in the pocket. As for Aaron Rodgers and Kyler Murray, Aaron Rodgers, he's just, I don't know how the hell he's still playing at the caliber that he is at 41. Personally, if he was a bit younger, I think I'd put him in that top 10 spot, but he did also get washed by the Seattle Seahawks. He was getting pretty banged up, and for that reason I put him in these honorable mentions because of his first week 1 game that he threw for 4 touchdowns at the age of 41. I think he just deserves to, get a nod. As for Kyler Murray, honestly, I had him in my top 10 list, but I just thought that another QB deserved it more than he did, especially because I don't know. I felt like he's the other person that you guys are going to see. You guys are probably going to be dumbfounded and click off the video when I when I state this, but I don't know. I just think he deserved it more than Kyler Murray. But honestly, it's pretty interchangeable. And the Cardinals, the only reason why they're winning right now by the skin of their teeth against pretty horrible teams is because of Kyler Murray. So I do just want to preface that honestly, I do think that the number 10 spot and Kyler Murray are tied currently, as well as Jaden Daniels. I think Kyler Murray, Jaden Daniels in the top 10 or number 10 spot honestly can interchange within each other. But yeah, let's get straight into the top 10, guys. I know I've been wasting a lot of time on these honorable mentions. So at my number 10 spot, I have Mr. Daniel Jones finally making a top 10 list in his career. Now, before you guys laugh, Daniel Jones is having a pretty historic season when it comes to coming back from a player. I just believe that the Giants just weren't utilizing him correctly. Daniel Jones has had a strong start to the season with the Indiana Colts, throwing for 588 yards and 2 touchdowns without even throwing an interception yet through the first 2 games. He also has 3 rushing touchdowns, notably only having 2 passing touchdowns. But honestly, if you're going to get the touchdown with your legs, what's the point of, having the passing touchdowns? Like, it really isn't needed if you're going to go ahead and get it yourself. His adjusted net yards per attempt of 9.35 ranks 4th in the NFL behind only Justin Herbert, Jordan Love, and Lamar Jackson, as well as his completion percentage being 71.4, ranking him 6th in the league. I know that nobody really watches the Colts games unless your team is playing against them, but Daniel Jones is having a pretty good season. Getting into his stats, he has 45 completions on 63 passing attempts, giving him, like I said earlier, a 71.4% completion percentage. He has 588 yards, and has 9.3 yards per attempt and has 2 passing touchdowns to go along with those passes. This gives him a passer rating of 111.1, and he also has 28 rushing yards and 3 rushing touchdowns to go along with it. I know that he doesn't have many passing touchdowns, but his 588 passing yards ranks him second in quarterbacks. And if you were to look at this graph right here with quarterback efficiency in 2025, he ranks among the best up here with names like Justin Herbert, Josh Allen, Lamar Jackson, and Jordan Love, Matthew Stafford. So yeah, Daniel Jones, he's figured it out over there at the Colts. All right, at the ninth spot, I have Baker Mayfield. Now, Baker Mayfield didn't have that good of a start to the NFL season, but I think he's figured it out in week 2, and I just see him being a better player than Daniel Jones. That's really the only reason why I put him ahead of him. Now, I do just want to start with his stats. He's 42 completions on 70 passing attempts, only giving him a 60% completion percentage, and he has 382 passing yards with 5.5 yards per attempt. But he does have 5 passing touchdowns, giving him a 75.4 QBR, and he has 72 rushing yards but 0 rushing touchdowns. The most notable reason why I gave him this spot in particular is his strong drive that he did have against the Houston Texans, leading his team and getting the second victory in the Buccaneers schedule. Mayfield has led the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, like I said earlier, to a 2-0 start for the 5th consecutive season, engineering late game-winning drives in both Week 1 against the Atlanta Falcons and Week 2 against the Houston Texans. In Week 2 particularly, despite facing a strong Texans pass rush, losing the starting offensive lineman, Mayfield led an 11-play, 80-yard touchdown drive in the final minutes to secure the 20-19 victory. He completed 25 of 38 passes for 215 yards and 2 touchdowns in that game, as well as he also passed for 167 yards and 3 touchdowns in Week 1. You can take a look at his stats, but honestly, I think he's more of one of those quarterbacks that you just kind of have to watch and play, as he pretty much stays calm and collected throughout the game and is able to have game-winning drives in back-to-back weeks, and for that reason, I gave him that number 9 spot. So moving along to number 8, I have Matthew Stafford at this spot, a pretty uneventful spot. But Matthew Stafford is just one of those quarterbacks that get the job done. The Los Angeles Rams are off to a 2-0 start this season, with Stafford leading them to both wins against the Houston Texans in Week 1 and the Tennessee Titans in Week 2. In Week 2 particularly, he threw for 298 yards and 2 touchdowns, despite being sacked once and throwing 1 interception. So he is one of the quarterbacks that already has an interception, but I'm not going to put it too much against him as he was sacked in that play. Stafford also recently reached 60,000 career passing yards, which I thought it was nice to note, becoming the second fastest quarterback to achieve this milestone. And when you take a look at his stats, he's having a pretty good season as he's 5th ranked in passing yards with 543 passing yards, as well as 3 touchdowns, which makes him the 9th ranked, which isn't the best. He also already has the interception, like I said earlier, but he does have a 71% completion rating with 8.8 yards per attempt. And I think it's pretty funny that this guy has negative rushing yards with negative 8 rushing yards. Is pretty hilarious. But yeah, I think that honestly, if you were to get rid of these mistakes that he has, he would be a higher pick. But at the same time, he's just kind of those quarterbacks that aren't the best, but will get the job done and are, in those conversations of being top 10, but usually in later, 8, 9s, 10s. I could have gave this spot to Kyler Murray. Honestly, I probably should have. But, Matthew Stafford, I just see him as a better player overall. I just also see the Rams having a better season, and Matthew Stafford is a pretty notable reason on why. But yeah, Matthew Stafford at number 8, I think that's just the right spot for him. And now here at number 7, I'm going to put Jordan Love at this spot. Now, I do think Jordan Love could higher up the ranks as the season progresses, but his career is just blossoming. As of now, I know that I made the video stating that I believe the Green Bay Packers are going to win the Super Bowl this season. And when I'm being honest with you, Jordan Love is a pretty major factor on why I believe so. So he's led the Green Bay Packers to a 2-0 record like the previous quarterbacks has as well. He's shown strong play, particularly in his ability to make deep throws and avoid interceptions. In their Week 2 win against the Washington Commanders, he passed for 292 yards and 2 touchdowns without an interception. He's also had a QBR of 91.7 against the Detroit Lions in Week 1. Love's performance has even sparked discussions about him being an early candidate for the NFL MVP award. And personally, I do see him winning the MVP award as well. If he does end up keeping this caliber of play and the Green Bay Packers continuously keep winning, especially with that strong defensive line that they have, I could see Jordan Love having a pretty historic season. Taking a look into his stats, he has 480 passing yards with 4 passing touchdowns and 0 interceptions. He has a 66.0 completion percentage, and he has an incredible 120.0 passer rating. 16 rushing yards. I think, we got to add his rushing yards as well. But yeah, if he continues this as well as his incredible passer rating, he could be a pretty prominent NFL MVP candidate. And now at number 6, we have a pretty unfortunate spot. We do have Joe Burrow here. He was having a pretty incredible start to the season, but unfortunately he was injured in his Week 2 performance. And he's one of those quarterbacks that are, great, but just are put in the most unfortunate circumstances, constantly getting injured because of the fact that he cannot get any help on the offensive line. And I don't understand why NFL teams decide to go get incredible talent and then waste it by not putting an offensive line that'll protect these quarterbacks. If you're going to get an all-star quarterback, then your first priority would be to go get some offensive line to protect him and then focus on the defense. But instead, they went to go grab him a all-star receiver in Jamar Chase that is having a pretty incredible season of his own. Maybe, if we do make a top 10 receivers list, he'd probably be number 1. But yeah, an unfortunate circumstance, but I'm going to keep him at this 6th spot. I know that he's probably going to have to get out of this top 10 spot afterwards. Maybe if we do make a recap of this video or a new one of this video later in the season or during the playoffs. But yeah, we're going to keep out this 6th spot just because of the fact that Joe Burrow is pretty much one of the most talented quarterbacks in the league right now. And now we're going to get into the top 5 conversations. And if your quarterback has not been mentioned yet, he might be mentioned in this top 5. If I do not end up mentioning him, just remember that this is all just internet shit. And we're just talking about the NFL, a entertainment league that we all watch together. So please don't get too mad. If you're going to say something, please say it in the comments. We can have a discussion on why you think that this certain player is better than the other one. And, we can have a friendly discussion in the comments, but, don't get too heated about it because this is just my personal opinion and I'm just a random person online. There's no reason to get mad over this. But yeah, coming in the number 5 spot, I'm going to put Justin Herbert here at this number 5 spot. And I honestly think that Justin Herbert could end up being number 1. I know I've said this about a lot of quarterbacks, but Justin Herbert is having a pretty phenomenal season, especially with the acquisition of his new girlfriend, Madison Beer. I don't know how she's slurping it because I'm telling you, she has to be doing the double hand method the way that Justin Herbert is playing football now in the 2025 season. I'm just going to spit fire a bunch of his stats. Just started off with 560 passing yards. That ranks him 3rd. 5 passing touchdowns. That ranked him 3rd. He has 0 interceptions. That does tie him with the 1st in QBs. 9.2 yards per attempt. That ranks him 2nd. 72.1% completion percentage. That ranks him 5th. 81.6 QBR. That ranks him 3rd. 63 rushing yards, which is pretty good for a quarterback. And as well as that, he has led the Los Angeles Chargers to a 2-0 start to this season. So his numbers are producing wins. He was able to beat a quarterback that I'm going to talk about in a second. And honestly, I would, it's hard because I want to put him ahead of that other quarterback. You probably know who I'm talking about. But I want to put him ahead of that quarterback so bad, but I don't know. Maybe the other quarterback will bounce back and play like his former self. But yeah, let's get back on Justin Herbert. He has led, like I said earlier, the Chargers to a 2-0 start to this season. In particular, in Week 1, he won against the Kansas City Chiefs, throwing for 318 yards and 3 touchdowns. He then followed up with 242 passing yards and 2 touchdowns in week 2, where they went over Las Vegas Raiders that had Geno Smith looking like, I don't even know, he looked like a deer in headlights out there. And yeah, like I said earlier, him ranking in third, second, and so many different stats, as well as his efficiency and his passing yards and his 5 passing touchdowns, are contributing to a strong start, putting him in an early MVP conversation that honestly I could see him winning MVP. I know that it's going to be close between him and if Jordan Love keeps playing in that level of caliber that he is playing, but I could see Justin Herbert winning the MVP this season. And I also do see the Chargers making it pretty far into the playoffs this season. And notably, that is about 80% because of Justin Herbert. All right, coming back into the list, we're going to go into the number 4 spot that I have Patrick Mahomes. Now, I know it's crazy that Patrick Mahomes is not number 1 in my list, but he honestly just hasn't been playing to the level of caliber of player that he could play, that he did play in his previous seasons. No, I can't do it. I know that, I could just edit this out, but I think I'm going to put Mahomes at the 4th spot and put Justin Herbert at the 3rd spot. So just pretend that I was talking about him before I was talking about Justin Herbert. So here we have Mahomes at the 4th spot. And the Kansas City Chiefs actually started as an 0-2 season. In their week 1 loss, they lost to the Los Angeles Chargers. Mahomes would have 258 passing yards and 1 touchdown. And then in his week 2 loss, he would lose to the Philadelphia Eagles in a Super Bowl rematch, losing 20-17. Where he only threw for 187 yards, 1 touchdown, as well as 1 interception, along with 66 rushing yards and a touchdown. And the Chiefs offense has just struggled to get a passing game going, partly due to the injuries and suspensions of wide receivers Xavier Worthy and Rashee Rice. Mahomes has stepped up his rushing game, currently leading his team with 123 rushing yards. So we have a running back Mahomes through 2 games, averaging 61.5 yards per game, and he's on pace to potentially reach an 1,000-yard season. But I don't think he's going to end up doing that, as his receivers will probably end up coming back by the later games of the season. But yeah, Mahomes, he's trying to do it all, and for that reason, I am going to keep him at this 4th spot. And he's a pretty incredible football player. I know that the stats don't show it, but Patrick Mahomes is one of the better players in the NFL, and he's one of the better QBs. And of course, we just can't forget his previous seasons as well as his 3 Super Bowl rings. So yeah, I just hope that he does bounce back this season. I know that a lot of people don't like the Chiefs, but it is sad seeing their dynasty kind of fall out in this manner. But yeah, let's get into the top 3. These is a pretty controversial top 3 because of one player in particular. I think that you guys would probably agree with me. But coming in the 3rd spot, I have Dakota Rain Prescott, and I don't want anybody to say this is any sort of bias because I am a Cowboys fan. Dakota Rain Prescott is having an incredible season, and he is playing football to a caliber of a top 5 quarterback. I'm sorry, you just can't tell me otherwise. Dakota Rain Prescott is just doing it all for the Cowboys offense right now. And when he is healthy, he is leading the Cowboys in an incredible manner. If Dak Prescott was not healthy right now, the Cowboys would probably only win 5 games this season, if that. But yeah, getting into his stats, he has 59 completions on 86 passing attempts. And of course, he would have more if CeeDee Lamb didn't have butters for fingers. He has 68.8 completion percentage with 549 passing yards, 2 passing touchdowns. He does have 1 interception. Going into specifics, his week 1 performance against the Philadelphia Eagles, going 21 for 34, making that a 61.8% completion percentage, only having 188 yards, 0 touchdowns, and 0 interceptions. But if you watch that game, you know that that does not say all of what Dakota Rain Prescott was able to do that day, as he single-handedly, as well as Javonte Williams, would continue to keep the Cowboys in the game. If CeeDee Lamb would have caught that ball, then we would be 2-0, but that's besides the point. He would then play Superman ball against the New York Giants, going 38 for 52, giving him a 73.1% completion percentage and 361 passing yards and 2 passing touchdowns. And if you guys were to watch the games with Dakota Rain Prescott in this 2025 season, then you guys know exactly why I put him in this top 3 spot. I just don't want to hear anything. All right, going into the number 2 spot, I'm going to controversially put Josh Allen at this number 2 spot. I know CBS is screaming right now at me like, how dare me put the MVP at the number 2 spot, but I'm sorry. I think that the other quarterback in the number 1 spot deserves it much more than he does and doesn't get as much credit as he should. Josh Allen was named AFC Offensive Player of the Week for his Week 1 performance against the Baltimore Ravens. He would lead the Bills to a comeback victory with 394 passing yards, 2 passing touchdowns, 30 rushing yards, and 2 rushing touchdowns. He also became the Bills' all-time leader in rushing touchdowns, surpassing Thurman Thomas, which is a pretty interesting stat. He has 47 completions with 71 passing attempts, and he would have 66.6 completion percentage with 542 passing yards, as well as 2 passing touchdowns, and like I said earlier, his 89 rushing yards with 2 rushing touchdowns. And honestly, there's just not much to say when it comes to Josh Allen. He is an incredible, talented football player, and honestly, interchangeably, he could be number 1. I'm just kind of being a hard ass, but yeah, Josh Allen, incredible football player, one of the best QBs in the league, and one of the best QBs of all time, in my opinion. I mean, whether you need him to run the ball, whether you need him to pass the ball, he can pretty much do it all. So, yeah, Josh Allen doesn't have too many flaws. I don't know why I started rapping right there, but yeah, honestly, not too much on Josh Allen. Number 2 spot, if you want to put him at number 1, I wouldn't argue with that. Buffalo Bills are just a pretty incredible team overall, and for that reason, I think I'm going to give the nod to number 1 just a slight bit more, because I just think that the other team that I'm about to talk about in a second wouldn't be able to do the things that they do without that player. For that reason, I just personally believe that he deserves that number 1 spot more than Josh Allen does. But yeah, Josh Allen, incredible football player, incredible stats, first in a lot of categories. And yeah, he keeps playing this way, he might also be a candidate for the MVP trophy, as well as I believe that this season the Bills are more than likely going to end up in the Super Bowl as well. So yeah, glad to see that it's not the Chiefs again. And number 1, I have Mr. Lamar Jackson, the best running back in the league. In all seriousness, he leads the league in passer rating with 136.6. Jackson became the NFL's all-time leader in career passer rating as of Week 2 in the 2025 season. He is also all-time leader in career rushing yards by a quarterback, but we all know this. Getting into his stats, he has 33 completions on 48 passing attempts, giving a 68.8% completion percentage. He has 434 passing yards, 6 passing touchdowns, and that overall gives him a 136.6 passer rating. And you can't talk about Lamar Jackson without speaking on his rushing attempts and rushing yards. He has 83 rushing yards with 1 rushing touchdown on only 8 rushing attempts, which honestly, with looking at those numbers, when you take a look at his 136.6 passer rating, all I can say is it's not bad for a running back. But yeah, I'm one of those Lamar Jackson believers. I believe that he can pretty much do it all. He passes efficiently. He adds a completely different dynamic to your offense, as he is as fast as some of the fastest receivers in the league, can get away from the pocket when it collapses, and will throw a beautiful dime on the run. I know that the Ravens are currently 1-1 right now, and that is due to the number 2 spot, but I'm not going to blame him too much, as Derrick Henry just fumbled the ball for no fucking reason, giving the Bills a chance to come back, as well as the Ravens defense just completely collapsing in the latter half of this of the game. But regardless of all that, I just believe that Lamar Jackson is the better player overall. If you want to argue with me in the comments. But yeah, that's my top 10 list, guys. There's not too much to say on Lamar Jackson. I just think that he's a pretty incredible talent football player. All right, then, what do you guys think about my list? If you guys think this list is complete whack, then comment down below in the comments, and please hit like and sub. I love all of you guys. Twin Beams loves all of you guys, and yeah, I'm gonna see you guys in the next video. Let me know what you guys think, and I'll see y'all later. Bye bye.